It's Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Marc Zicree of Space Command, and I am actually in Hampstead, a lovely neighborhood in London, and I've been here with Elaine for the last week and a half or so, having meetings with all the major studios and networks and production companies. It's been an amazing time, and I'll tell you a little bit about it because I haven't posted a Mr. Sci-Fi video for a little while. Essentially, I'm staying at the home of the lovely guest house of one of our investors on Space Command, who's graciously allowed us to stay at his place in this lovely neighborhood. And in fact, the house that we're staying at was owned originally by Stanley Unwin, who was the first publisher of Lord of the Rings. And my friend's father bought it in the 70s, and now we've been staying there. So it's been just a dream come true. It's an incredibly beautiful neighborhood, and it's now Tuesday night, and the sun is low in the sky, and you can hear the wind whispering through the trees, and it's very, very bucolic. And I've been meeting, and now Frank Spotnitz, when I went to MIP in France, I met with Frank Spotnitz, the showrunner of Man in the High Castle, and he was an executive producer of The X-Files, and he's also doing a new series called Medici, starring Game of Thrones Kit Harington as Cosimo Medici, the Renaissance power baron, basically, and his father's played by Dustin Hoffman as the patriarch of the Medici clan, an amazing series that will be airing soon. And so Frank gave me about a dozen production companies and networks to meet with here, and someone else gave me another 8 or so to meet with. And so it's been nonstop meetings, and it's been terrific. It's gone fabulously well. And additionally, Frank is now reading the first of the 3 Magic Time novels to see if we'll do them as a show together. So I actually started this whole journey with MIP and so forth to pitch Space Command, and along the way, CAA is now representing me, and things are happening in features and in terms of my material, and I'm finishing the book about my mom that Neil Gaiman loved, and that's going to go to CAA to see if they want to set it up as a book and potentially a movie. But all of this has been towards Space Command, and so I've been pitching Space Command, and Ron Thornton is now generating. He's brought aboard the designer of the spaceship in Prometheus, the spaceship in The Martian, and they are now busy at work generating the 100 visual effects shots that are in just the first 6 minutes. So we're going to have the first 6 minutes finished as a proof of concept to help sell the show. We have the rough cut, of course, the first two hours, and soon we'll have the assemblage of the 30 minutes of the second 2 hours. But I didn't want to show a rough cut because, again, to extrapolate, there's 1,900 visual effects shots, and to extrapolate watching that for what it will be, I didn't want to risk that in terms of convincing people to buy the show. So I've had an enormously great reception here. I've met with BBC, ITV, Sky TV, Channel 4 in UK, Tiger Aspect, Endemol, Fremantle, on and on and on. It's just been an amazing time, and everyone's been very friendly, very welcoming, very enthusiastic about what I'm doing. They love science fiction, many of them. And Magic Time, of course, is modern fantasy, and the new script Lilith is modern fantasy. But it's great because they're so amazed that they're meeting with someone who isn't just pitching smoke and mirrors, who doesn't just have a notion and then they try and pretend that they know what they're doing. In my case, of course, I have hundreds of hours of produced network credits and bestsellers in fiction and nonfiction. But also, what I'm pitching is, in one case, I've shot 2.5 hours of it. In another case, I've done 3 novels of it. And in the third case, I've just written the pilot script, which shows very clearly what the show would be. So we'll see how it all goes and where we all land. But I just wanted to share this with you because this is how TV gets made, and now it's a world audience. And so it's not anymore just about America or the American studios or the American networks. So when I began this journey with crowdfunding and saying to my backers, the 3,000 people around the world who funded me and the millions around the world who encouraged me, I said, it's not up to the studios or the networks anymore to determine what we get to make and what we get to see and what is a hopeful vision of the future that we can believe in, even if the studios and the networks have more cynical aims or more profit-minded aims. And I'm not down on profit, and I'm actually not anti-studio or anti-network, but I just had something I wanted to do, and I trusted my audience, and I feel extremely happy that that's all working out so well. And I love London. It's one of my favorite cities. I went to Forbidden Planet today. I went there a few days ago to sign some of my books for them, the Guillermo book and the and Magic Time. but I went back today to buy some action figures and books and audio dramas. There's a new audio drama of The Prisoner that I picked up, and then tomorrow I go and see some spacesuits at the prop store that were used in various movies. So it's and then we fly home, and then it goes from there. So we'll see how it all progresses. But I wanted to share it with you. It's an amazing time, and we'll talk again soon. But again, from Hampstead, London, United Kingdom, this is Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, Marc Zicree of Space Command, and glad to have you with me on this journey. Take care. Bye-bye.